Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do a first ever palette bingo. I have watched other channels do these. I just never have done them myself. So I now have 3 palettes from Wicked Widow. These are all their 8 pans, and these are the all three that they currently have. So I'm hoping that she continues to do more of these because I like this size, and the price point of these is pretty good. It's about $34. I feel like one of them maybe was $36, but they're about $34. Her larger palettes run, in the $50-ish range. So this is definitely a good place to start if you're interested in this brand. I will link them down below. But yeah, we're gonna roll some dice and see what we get. So if you want to stick around and see what shades and what look I come up with, stick around. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. If you're new, welcome. And I'm going to try and not ramble, so let's jump into it. So first off, the 3 palettes that we have, and I'm going to do them, I think, show them in the order that I've received them. So 2 of these I got in an Eyescream Beauty box, and I will also link them. And then the 3rd palette I purchased myself. So this is the Graveyard Smash. This was their Halloween palette. This one's currently out of stock. I'm hoping it's something that she's going to bring back this next October. The company's pretty good about getting back to me, so I will ask and I will try and put that in the description if they're planning on restocking it. But this is what it looks like. So for the bingo, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to have them all like that. Because they open like a book, and that's how I look at them when I'm using them. So they will all be 1 through 8 in that order. So it's a little more grungy. And then we have, this was their Valentine's palette. This is the Lovesick palette. The artwork on all of these I think is super cute. So a little more pinky, mauve-y, very Valentine's Day-y. And then this was actually their first palette that they did in this size format. This is the Tea Time palette. I call it that. I think that's what this is called. It's Alice in Wonderland inspired. You have the March Hare, and then Alice cup, Cheshire Cat cup, Queen of Hearts cup. It's very, very cute again. And then there's little spades printed in the matte shade, so very bright. What is in this? There are arrows, like a bow and arrow. And then this one, what's the imprint? They're music notes. Monster Mash is one of my favorite songs, so I can appreciate that. So there's the little notes. So I'm gonna roll dice. Actually, I've seen people use the number generator. I have a bunch of different dice. I needed a 9-sided dice for one of my old board games. I have the original Jumanji game, and I was missing the dice. My parents had put in just a regular 6-sided dice. Now I could have got a pack of regular dice and just added to it, because you need, part of the game you've got to roll like a 3 or a 9, something like that. So I need to be able to go up to 9. So I just got a cheap D&D set on Amazon because it was cheaper than getting a pack of regular dice. So I threw one of the 9-sided dice in the board game, and I have a bunch of different ones left. So I do have an 8-sided die, whatever you want. So we're going to roll the dice. I am going to try and position you down so you can see. I did finally get a tablecloth. I'm beating this up. This was like a cheap $2 tablecloth. So I actually have another blanket that I'm going to put down when I do like swatching, but I did cover up the gross table finally. So let's start. Should we do newest to oldest? Okay, so we'll start with the Tea Time. And again, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, so forth. Okay, so first roll. We have a 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be Imposter, which is, try and put it where you can see it, this shade right here. So I'm going to swatch them on the back of my hand. I'm going to do 2 shades per palette, so that'll give me 6. I think that's a good number. I felt like 3 total wouldn't be enough, so we're going to do 2 per palette. So let's roll and see what we get. I just thought the dice would be fun. So that's actually the key. So those two at least kind of go together. Okay, it'll be interesting when we get to the next palette because it's a little more pinky. My two youngest are playing upstairs. My husband is up there, I promise. I say that in videos a lot. So there's the inside of the palette. I always feel like when it's earlier than what I normally film too. So that's going to be this shade right here, Love Like Winter. So we have a purple. Okay. I just thought the dice would be more fun. We got the same number, so I got to roll again. 1. So we have this Worlds Apart. So we ended up with another matte. So we have 2 and 2, which is a nice ratio. And I'm not hating that color combo. Okay. Like I said, since I have all these dice, I thought it might be fun to roll the dice instead of using the number generator. I'm older, so I like the dice. So 3 is another shimmer. It's this green one, Thrills and Chills. I like the shade in the palette. It's actually one of my favorite shades in the palette. So there we go. And then this could be very shimmer heavy, which is okay. 1. So we actually got a matte and a shimmer from each palette, which is nice. So we ended up with the orange. So there we have it. So I am going to take a look at this, kind of figure out what I'm going to do, and we'll come right back. So this is what I came up with. I don't love the lower lash line, but I feel like most of this goes pretty well except for the orange. That was a little bit of a curveball, but I don't hate it. I think I definitely placed it in probably the best possible place, but I did prime with my Gerard Clean Canvas in white. I hate the stickers that they use because the bottom, I haven't had it that long, but the bottom's like completely rubbed off. But this is the white one. I tend to use it for anytime I use like a bright color. And it is a little bit of a wetter base. If you don't have this, just use concealer, a pretty light concealer will get the job done. So the first shade I used was the teal. I went in, and that is from the Tea Time palette. And I just took that in the outer corner. Now I did this in the pink because pink and blue, like tealy colors, are going to give you a purple. Whereas like the orange and the teal, I think would give you more of a muddy, like brown color. So I was trying to, this is like color theory. So I tried to do the mattes that would kind of blend out better. I could have done the teal and the orange next to each other and then just been a little more careful of the blend. You'll have to let me know what you thought of the choices. There's a couple different ways you could go, but overall I thought that this was a pretty good draw. Like I said, we got a matte and a shimmer from each palette, so I can't complain. So I just blended that out a little bit, and I'm going to use the same brush. So this is the pink shade Worlds Apart from the Lovesick. And I'm just taking that half on, half off of the teal, and I'm going to go all the way around. And then I did bring it down forward so you could see a little bit of it. It's a lighter pink, which I thought was fine because I didn't want it to be like super like pronounced. I'm going to put a little more on that side. I've talked about this before, but my eyes never end up matching exactly when I do one off camera and then film it. But as you can see, like it does take a little work to blend. I think part of that is because of the color contrast, and then also the pink is significantly lighter than the teal. And I'm not like digging in, I'm tapping in. Their shadows are pretty pigmented. but it is helping. We are getting a little bit of a purple color in there. And then I wanted to take it up a little bit higher so you could see some of the pink. So, like I said, I think this was probably a safer way to go about it, just because these two colors are going to blend into each other. And then I ran into a little bit of an issue towards the like outer corner again, because they're darker and lighter and they didn't necessarily want to blend together. So I just grabbed a little bit more of the teal and then just went back in and blended it. Okay, so nothing super complicated. And then I used actually that same brush and just took the teal to the halfway point. I didn't do a ton. I didn't want it to be like super dark. Again, I'm just tapping into the pan pretty lightly. And then on a smaller brush, I took the orange, which is Harvest Horrors from the first palette, the Graveyard Smash. And these do blend a little bit. And then I actually took the shimmer from the Graveyard Smash, which is that like, it's this one. And I did a little bit in the center where those two colors kind of meet. And then I also took it on the inner corner. And then I dragged it into the orange on the other side a little bit, and I'll actually take it up onto the lid. I did use a tiny bit of the NYX glitter glue. My tube broke. If you're newer, like the whole tip snapped off. I finally got a new tube. I'd had the same tube for like 3 years. Finally got a new one, and it broke like 2 weeks after I had it. And you don't need a lot. I use it with most shimmers, so thankfully I had an empty one of these containers, or one that was almost empty. Because I was like, what am I going to put it in? Okay, so I went with the blue first, which is the Key from the Tea Time palette. Doing something like this definitely pushes me to think outside of the box. Like I said, I've never done one of these, and this actually shifts from blue to purple, which I thought was good because I'm going to take the purple from the other palette on the outer part, so it blended together really well. And then let's see, I lost my little brush. There it is. So I'm going to take a little more of Thrills and Chills out of the Graveyard Smash, which is what we put on the inner corner. I'm just taking that up just a little bit, and I just did that to lighten up that inner part just a hair. And then I used my finger for Love Like Winter, which is a purple with like a silvery. That's gonna go on the outer part, but I thought that those two, normally I probably would have done the purple. I'm not a huge blue eyeshadow wearer, so I thought I would do something a little different. And then this same little brush, I cleaned it off and I took a little bit of the pink and I just ran it under like both to kind of help blend those out. So let me put on some liner and some lashes, and I will come right back and show you what it looks like. Okay, so I left my glasses off so you could see. So I do have liner, and then I did put these little accent lashes on. I just didn't feel like putting a full like 3/4 pair on because I thought this was sufficient, but I'm not mad at how this came out. You'll have to let me know how you thought I did on my first palette bingo. I didn't do anything super complicated, but again, I would wear this out. I think the colors went pretty good together. I like the little pop of orange on the lower lash. So yeah, definitely let me know. And then I thought I would rank them really quick. It's hard because I do like all 3 color stories. So let me look here really quick. But okay, just based off of, and I've only used like this Valentine one, this was the first time I used it. This is the first time I used that. So it's just based on color story. So at number 3, I'm going to put the Lovesick. Again, I really, really like the pink color story. Pink is a go-to shade that I like to wear. Like, this is definitely a palette I could see using more for like work. And I like that there's some fun pops of color. Something has to be in the bottom. So at number 2, I did put the Tea Time palette, which I think is funny because it took me so long to get this. But I really, really like the fun pops of color. I think now that I have the 3 palettes, I'm much more inclined to use this. When this first came out, again, this was the only one in this size, and I wasn't really sure what to do with it because it is a little bit of an all over the board like color story, but having the other 2 palettes to pair with it if I want to, I think makes it a little bit more versatile for me now. And then at number 1, part of it's the outer packaging. I do love Frankenstein, and so you've got Frankenstein and the Bride, and then I really do like a grungy color story. So I like that there's some more like neutrally shades. Like, I would consider the plum a little more on the neutral side. Orange and mustard, and then the green, well, they are more colorful. I think this is a more wearable way to go about a Halloween color story because the green, you know, is more sagey. The mustard is a little bit lighter. So the orange is the brightest shade in here. So I think all 3 are really well done. I really enjoy them. So yeah, that is my quick little ranking. I'm sure if you asked me in a month from now, it would change. But yeah, again, let me know what you thought of the palette bingo. If you want me to keep doing palette bingo, I definitely can. Like I said, I have a bunch of different size dice. So when I'm able to use the dice, I will. You'll have to let me know if you liked that or if you would just prefer me to use the electronic number generator. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Again, make sure you're subscribed if you're not already, and hopefully I will see you all in another video very, very soon. Bye, everybody.